My name is Elena Harding. I'm 29, and I'm a software engineer who can debug million-line code bases, but apparently cannot detect a walking red flag until he's already moved into my head rent-free. My ex-boyfriend's name is Jason. We dated for 18 months, on and off. Mostly off for the last 6, but 18 months total of this exhausting cycle where we would get close, he would panic, we'd break up, then somehow end up back together. Every time, I thought this round would be different. It never was. The final breakup happened 2 months ago in my tiny but painfully expensive one-bedroom apartment. We were sitting on my gray IKEA couch, the one that's seen every version of us. First kisses, silent treatments, tearful makeups, and that time I cried into a bowl of ramen while he scrolled his phone. "I'm not asking you to marry me," I'd said, fingers twisting together. "I'm just asking if you'd consider moving in. We both pay rent in the same city. We're staying at my place almost every night anyway. It just makes sense." The second the words left my mouth, his face shut down like someone had hit a kill switch. His shoulders stiffened, his jaw clenched. "I'm not ready for that level of commitment," Jason said slowly, like he was choosing each word with surgical precision. "I need to focus on my career. This is too much pressure, Elena." I tried to talk through it. I offered compromises, timelines, anything that sounded like reason. "Could we revisit later? In 6 months, a year? I'm not trying to trap you," I said, my voice already slipping into that pleading tone I hated. But he had made up his mind. He said he needed space to figure out what he wanted, that the relationship was moving too fast, and he felt suffocated, that he cared about me, but couldn't be what I needed. He cried. I didn't. Not until after he left. I watched him gather his hoodie and keys like he was packing up the last year and a half into his pockets. The door clicked shut, and the silence in my apartment was so loud it felt like my ears were ringing. Then I sat on that couch for 3 hours, staring at the dent where he'd been, trying to understand how wanting to share a living space after 18 months was moving too fast for a grown man. But I respected his decision, or at least I tried to. I texted, "I understand. I want you to be happy. If you need space, I'll give it to you." He replied, "Maybe in a few months we could try being friends. Promise me you'll give me time." "I promise," I'd whispered out loud to an empty room before typing it back. For 3 weeks, I didn't contact him. I deleted him from my favorites, muted him on social media, so I wouldn't accidentally stalk his stories at 1 a.m. I focused on work, took extra shifts, went to the gym, let my friend Felix drag me out for bad wings and worse karaoke. I did all the post-breakup things you're supposed to do. It sucked, but I was managing. Then my birthday rolled around last week, February 10th. I was at work, half awake, staring at a bug ticket that refused to die, when the front desk pinged me on Slack. "Reception. Elena, you have a package downstairs." A tiny spark of excitement, maybe something from my parents, or Cora, my older sister. I rode the elevator down, rehearsing a mental note to call Mom later. The receptionist handed me a thick, fancy envelope with my name written in looping script. I knew the aesthetic instantly, the same boutique stationery store Jason had dragged me into once because he said the cards felt like art. My stomach tightened. I opened it. Inside was a birthday card, the expensive kind that feels like it should come with its own security guard. On one side, a minimal watercolor of a night sky. On the other, his handwriting. "Happy birthday, Elena. I've been thinking about you a lot. I hope you're doing okay. You deserve all the happiness in the world. The past 18 months meant everything to me. Love always, Jay." I stood in the lobby, reading it over and over. Love always. He broke up with me. He said he needed space. He said he felt suffocated. Now he was sending me a card that might as well have been dipped in nostalgia and confusion. I didn't respond. Not that day, not the next, not the day after. At lunch, I showed the card to Felix, my coworker and unofficial emotional support human. He squinted at it over his burrito. "Yeah, no, he's breadcrumbing you." "Breadcrumbing?" I raised an eyebrow. "Yeah, throwing little emotional crumbs to keep you from walking away but never offering an actual meal. Ignore it." Ignoring felt wrong somehow, like I was being petty. He had taken time to buy a card, write something thoughtful, have it delivered to my office. The decent thing, the Elena thing, would be to at least text a simple thanks, right? Except every time I picked up my phone, I remembered his face when he said he needed space. The way he made my perfectly reasonable request, sharing an address after a year and a half, sound like a life sentence. He said the relationship suffocated him. Now he was sending cards about how much those 18 months meant. I didn't respond. Apparently that was a problem. Yesterday, Felix rolled his chair over to my desk, his face doing that uncomfortable, please don't shoot the messenger thing. Elena, so Jason texted me, he said quietly. My hands paused over my keyboard. Okay, why? He asked if you're okay. Said he's worried because you didn't respond to his card. My stomach dropped a notch. Worried? Felix nodded. He also texted your sister, I think. He said he might reach out to her because you've been really distant. Almost on cue, my phone buzzed. Cora. I stared at the screen for a second before answering. Hey, big sis. What is going on with you? She demanded. No hello, no warm-up. I frowned. Good afternoon to you too. Don't, she said. Jason texted me. He said he's worried about you, that you're not answering him, that you've been acting off. He made it sound like you're spiraling. My blood pressure spiked like someone had poured gasoline on my veins. He told me he needed space, I said slowly. I gave him space. Now he's texting everyone because I'm giving him what he asked for? Felix watched me, brows raised, pretending not to listen while totally listening. Cora sighed. I told him you're fine, but... Elena, there's something else I need to tell you, and you're going to be pissed. There was a warning in her voice that made my chest tighten. Okay, what? I saw him Friday night, she said, at the wine bar downtown. He was on a date. The room suddenly felt smaller. Are you sure? I whispered, already knowing she wouldn't have called if she wasn't. Positive, Cora said. Guy had his arm around her. They were flirting. She was doing that stupid hair flip thing, and they were sharing a dessert. It was very clearly a date. I sank back in my chair, the cheap mesh digging into my spine. Based on his Instagram, Cora continued, it looks like he's been seeing her for weeks. And now he's texting me and Felix like he's some worried ex in a movie. What the hell, Elena? I stared at the birthday card on my desk. The past 18 months meant everything to me. Love always. Jason is dating someone new, which is fine. We're broken up. He's allowed to move on. But he's also sending me cards with love always and texting my friends like I'm the unstable one for respecting his request for space. I said it out loud before I could stop myself. Am I the idiot here, I asked Cora quietly, for ignoring him? Or am I just protecting myself from someone who wants to keep me as a backup? Cora didn't answer right away, but I could feel the answer hanging there, heavy and obvious, between my pounding heart and that stupid, expensive card on my desk. And for the first time, a small, cold thought slid into place. Maybe this wasn't about love at all. I didn't block his number that day. I should have. I know that now. But instead, I put the card back in its envelope, slid it into my desk drawer like a live grenade, and told myself I was rising above it. The universe heard that and said, bet. 3 days later, Felix rolled over to my desk again, spinning in his chair like a bored teenager. It would have been funny if my stomach didn't immediately clench. What now? I asked, not looking away from my screen. He hesitated. That alone made my palms sweat. So, Jason texted me again, Felix said. And this time it's worse. I forced myself to meet his eyes. Define worse. He's not just worried about you anymore, Felix said, air quoting. He told me he thinks you might be going through something serious, mental health-wise. My fingers tightened on my mouse. What? He said you've been really withdrawn, Felix went on carefully. That you seem not like yourself, and he's scared you might hurt yourself. He asked me to keep an eye on you at work. Elena, Felix said softly. But he wasn't done. Chris texted me too, he added. Basketball Chris? I blinked. The guy who only knows me as Felix's coworker with the good three-pointer? Yeah, that one. Felix nodded. Jason DM'd him on Instagram asking if you seem off lately. Chris barely knows you, and even he thought it was weird. Something cold slid down my spine. And Amanda, Felix added, wincing. My coworker, the one I made small talk with in the kitchen about coffee and cats. We weren't close. We weren't confidants. We barely followed each other on social media. He messaged Amanda? I asked, my voice dropping. Yeah, she showed me. Felix lowered his voice. He asked if you seemed stressed at work, if she could keep an eye on you. He made it sound like you're on the verge of a breakdown. I sat there staring at him, my mind doing that thing where it zooms out of my body. Jason wasn't just checking in. He was building a story. Elena, Felix said quietly, this isn't normal concerned ex behavior. This is orchestrated. The word hung there. Orchestrated. He's painting you as unstable, Felix continued. So when people hear you're not responding to him, they think you're the unreasonable one, not that you're protecting yourself. That's manipulative, I said. That's Jason, Felix corrected gently. I wanted to argue, to explain, to rationalize. Maybe he really was worried. Maybe I had been off lately and just didn't see it. The doubt crept in like a draft under a door. I left my desk and went outside, phone clutched in my hand, breathing in the sharp, cold air like it could somehow clear my head. That night, I called Cora. She answered on the first ring. Hey, how's my favorite emotionally competent little sister? I need you to be brutally honest, I said. Those are my favorite words, she replied. Go. Have I seemed unstable? I asked. Off? Depressed? Like in a scary way? There was a beat of silence. Elena, she said slowly, you've been sad. You just went through a breakup. But honestly, you're better than you were your last few months with him. You're actually sleeping. Your eye doesn't twitch when your phone buzzes. You sound relieved sometimes. I exhaled, half laugh, half sob. So why is he telling people he's worried about my mental health? Because he wants you to react, she said immediately. He wants you to reach out, which, by the way, is working because you're calling me at 10 at night to ask if you're secretly crazy. I sank onto my bed. He's making me doubt my own reality. That's the point, Cora said. He's not just trying to look like a good guy. He's trying to make sure if you ever tell people what he did, they'll already have his version of you in their heads. Fragile, unstable, overreacting. He gets to be the calm, caring ex. You get to be the mess. It made horrible sense. It didn't explain the card or why he was doing this while dating someone else, but it explained the sick feeling in my stomach every time my phone lit up with a new message about him. What do? I whispered. Block him, she said. Block him and move on with your life. I don't know if I can, I admitted. Not yet. Cora sighed. Then at least stop letting him manage your image in your own head. Easier said than done. 2 days later, Felix dropped a suggestion that scared me for a completely different reason. Just ask him directly, he said. Text him. Ask what he wants. Get it out in the open. I don't want to reopen that door, I said immediately. You don't have to walk through it, Felix replied. Just crack it open. Ask why he's contacting your friends after asking for space, and then slam it in his face if you don't like his answer. The worst part was, it made sense. I spent 48 hours going in circles in my own mind, rehearsing texts I didn't send. Why are you doing this? Why are you telling people I'm not okay? Why can't you just let me go the way you said you wanted to? Finally, on a gray Wednesday morning, staring at my reflection in the black screen of my phone, I typed, Hey, I've heard from multiple people that you're worried about me. I'm fine, but I'm confused why you're reaching out to my friends and family when you're the one who asked for space. What's going on? My thumb hovered over the send button long enough that my chest hurt. Then I hit send. 5 minutes later, like he'd been waiting with the chat window open, he replied, Elena, I'm sorry if I overstepped. I just care about you, and when you didn't respond, I got worried. You always respond. So when you didn't, I thought something was wrong. I didn't mean to make things weird. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. Reading it, I felt that familiar mix of guilt and frustration. He sounded so reasonable on text, so gentle. If you didn't know the context, you'd think I was the one being dramatic. I typed back, I didn't respond because you said you needed space. I was trying to respect that. The 3 dots appeared almost instantly. I know and I appreciate that, but space doesn't mean we can never talk. I thought we could still be friends. There it was. Friends. That word that makes everything complicated and nothing clear. I don't know how to be friends with you right now, I wrote. It's too fresh. I need more time. How much time? He replied. I stared at that question. How much time does it take to unlearn someone? To unbuild a future you'd already pictured? I don't know. There was a longer pause this time, like he was thinking. Elena, I miss you, he wrote. I miss talking to you. You're my best friend. I'm not trying to get back together. I just want you in my life somehow. I felt the hook in those words. Not trying to get back together, so I couldn't accuse him of leading me on. Best friend, so I'd feel guilty for saying no. I thought of what Cora said, of Felix calling it orchestrated, of that wine bar table with another woman sitting where I used to. Can we meet up? Came the next message before I could answer. Just coffee, just to talk. I think we left things in a bad place and I want to fix that. Every instinct in me screamed no, but every pattern in me whispered, maybe this time will be different. Maybe this time will give you closure. Maybe this time you'll finally get an answer that makes it all make sense. I stared at the screen so long my eyes burned. If I didn't meet him, he'd keep texting people, keep creating this narrative where I was fragile and he was concerned, keep sending mixed signals I'd have to decode in the dark. Maybe if I just sat across from him and asked the questions, I could finally be done. My fingers moved on their own. Fine, coffee this weekend. The reply came in seconds. Thank you, I promise this will help. As soon as I saw it, regret bloomed in my chest like ink in water. Across the office, Felix looked up from his monitor. I must have made a face, because he didn't even need to ask. You texted him, didn't you? He said. I nodded. Let me guess. Just coffee as friends? He added in a high, mocking voice. Saturday at 2, I muttered. He groaned. Elena, he is going to suck you back into that same loop. I'm not going back, I said, more to myself than to him. I just need to hear what he has to say, then I can move on. Felix raised an eyebrow. You realize that's exactly what you said last time, right? And the time before that. He wasn't wrong. The last 2 breakups, I'd told myself I just needed closure. One more conversation, one more explanation, one more promise that things would be different. Every time, that conversation turned into getting back together. But this time felt different. This time, I knew about the new woman. This time, I could see the manipulation more clearly. This time, I told myself, I was walking into that cafe with my eyes open. What I didn't know yet was that walking in with your eyes open doesn't stop someone from pulling the rug out from under you. It just means you get a better view on the way down. The coffee was set for Saturday at 2 p.m., and whether I liked it or not, the next chapter was already waiting for me at that corner table. Maybe this was about control. Saturday arrived too quickly. I spent the morning rearranging my apartment for no reason, folding laundry that was already folded, wiping counters that were already clean, opening and closing my closet as if the right sweater might somehow emotionally shield me. I knew it was pointless. I knew clothes wouldn't protect me from Jason. But anxiety turns you into a creature who believes in rituals. At 1:30 p.m., I forced myself out the door. By 1:45, I was sitting in the back corner of our old cafe, the same one where we had shared pastries and inside jokes, where he once traced circles on my wrist while telling me he saw a future with me. The same place he later claimed was too intense. Smart. Really great choice on my part. I picked the farthest booth, the one with the chipped paint and the view of the entrance. I didn't want him creeping up on me. I wanted to see him coming like a storm I could brace against. At 2 o'clock on the dot, he walked in. Jason always had good timing, especially when it came to emotional ambushes. He looked good. Annoyingly good. I hated that I noticed. His hair was styled the way I always liked. Slightly messy, like he'd run a hand through it. He wore a navy sweater, the exact shade that made his eyes look softer. I'd complimented that sweater once. Of course he remembered. He spotted me and smiled, not a big grin, just that soft, wounded smile that used to pull me in like a tide. Elena, he said as he reached the table. Jason. He sat down, and for a moment, neither of us knew what to do with our hands. He reached toward mine, then aborted the motion at the last second, pretending to adjust his sleeve. That almost touch felt more intimate than an actual one. Thanks for meeting me, he said quietly. I honestly wasn't sure you would. I almost didn't. I'm glad you did. We ordered coffee. He got his usual caramel latte with oat milk. I got plain black coffee, the drink I switched to after the breakup because sugary drinks reminded me of him. The small talk was torture. Weather, work, mutual friends, this weird dance around the minefield between us. Every word felt like tiptoeing. Finally, I couldn't stand it. Why did you send me that birthday card? I asked, cutting straight through the fluff. Jason looked down, tracing a line on the table with his fingertip. Because it was your birthday, and I was thinking about you. You asked for space, I reminded him. You said you needed time, a lot of time. I know, he said softly, but space doesn't mean I stopped caring. You were a huge part of my life. Then why text my friends when I didn't respond to your card? His face flushed. I was worried. You barely know some of the people you messaged, I said. You DM'd Amanda from my office, Jason. Why? He shrugged helplessly. You always respond. When you didn't, I thought something was wrong. I let out a slow breath. Or you thought I was finally moving on and you didn't like that. His head snapped up. That's not fair. Isn't it? I asked quietly. You break up with me. You say you need space. I give you space. Then you create drama because I'm actually giving it to you. I wasn't creating drama, he insisted. I was genuinely worried. Something in me wanted to believe him, wanted to fall back into that familiar rhythm where I excused everything because his voice sounded soft. But I couldn't unsee the pattern. Jason, I said quietly, you told people I might be having mental health issues. He winced. I didn't mean it like that. That is exactly how you meant it, I cut in. You were painting a story. Elena, were you worried about me? I asked. Or were you worried about losing your safety net? His mouth fell open slightly. For a second, he looked genuinely hurt. I'm not manipulating you, he whispered. I miss you. I miss talking to you. Is that so hard to believe? My throat tightened. Damn him. He always knew exactly which words would make me soften. And if you miss me so much, I said, why are you dating someone else? He froze. There it was. Cora's revelation, laid out between us like a blade. Who told you that? He asked, voice low. My sister saw you at the wine bar, I said, with another woman, a date. You looked comfortable. Jason closed his eyes for a second, then opened them, annoyed. I'm allowed to see other people. We broke up. I know, I said calmly. But you don't get to send me a birthday card with love always written inside while you're going on dates. That's not fair. It's not serious, he said quickly. Just a few dates, nothing real. Then why didn't you tell me? Because it's not relevant, he said. This, he gestured between us, is about you and me. There is no you and me, I said. He leaned forward, and this time he did take my hand, squeezing it tight. Elena, I miss you, he whispered. Breaking up with you was a mistake. There it was, the thing I had spent months wanting to hear. And for the first time, I felt nothing. Not joy, not relief. Just tired. Then why are you dating someone else if you miss me so much? I asked. Because I was trying to move on, he said. You weren't answering me. I thought you were done. You were protecting yourself, I corrected softly. Not me. He flinched. I pulled my hand from his. You don't want to be with me, I said. Not really. But you don't want me getting over you either. You're being really unfair, he said, voice trembling. I shook my head. No, Jason, I'm being honest. Something neither of us has been good at in this relationship. He opened his mouth to protest. I didn't let him. You break up with me when things get close. You ask for space. I give it. Then the second I'm quiet, you panic and try to pull me back. You can't have it both ways. His eyes filled with tears. Real ones. Not manipulative ones. And for a moment, I saw the boy in him. The fear, the longing, the confusion. Elena, he whispered, I don't want to lose you. You already did, I said gently. You just didn't notice until I stopped responding. I stood. He stood too. Elena, please. I'm sorry, Jason, I said, voice shaking but steady enough. I can't be your friend. Not now. Maybe not ever. And then I walked out. My hands shook the entire drive to my sister's apartment. When Cora opened the door, she took one look at me and pulled me into a hug. That bad? Worse, I whispered into her shoulder. He said he misses me. Said breaking up was a mistake, but he went on a brunch date the same day. Cora's breath hitched. Elena, oh my God. I'm tired, I said. I'm so tired. She poured me a drink without asking. I didn't look at my phone the rest of the night. The next morning, I made the decision I should have made months ago. I blocked him. His number, his Instagram, his private account he thought I didn't know about, his TikTok, his email, every possible route. And for 3 days, I felt something strange. Peace. A quiet I hadn't felt in over a year. But peace never lasts long with people like Jason. And he wasn't done with me yet. For 3 days, my life felt normal. Quiet even. I went to work without checking my phone every 5 minutes. I slept without replaying conversations. I cooked dinner, watched Netflix, went to the gym, even laughed with Felix over a bug in our code that refused to die. It felt like someone had finally turned off a loud, persistent alarm that had been blaring in the back of my skull for months. Then Wednesday night came. I was fresh out of the shower, hair wrapped in a towel, reheating leftover pasta, when someone knocked on my apartment door. At first, I thought it was a delivery, then a neighbor, then Cora dropping by unannounced. But the knocking came again, soft, then harder, urgent. A sinking feeling spread in my chest. I walked slowly to the door and glanced through the peephole. Jason, standing in my hallway like a ghost I hadn't invited. My stomach dropped so hard I had to press my palm to the door to steady myself. He knocked again. Elena, I know you're in there. Your car's in the lot. Please, just 5 minutes. I didn't speak. For 30 seconds, I tried to convince myself to pretend I wasn't home. But then he said softly, Please, Elena, I need to talk to you. And because I am me, because empathy is a reflex, not a choice, I opened the door. I did not invite him in. He stepped over the threshold anyway. Typical. He stood in my entryway, hands in his pockets, looking around like he expected things to look different after 72 hours without him. Elena, he said breathlessly, thank you. I needed to see you. I crossed my arms. 5 minutes. That's it? He nodded quickly. Yeah, 5 minutes, I promise. He didn't look confident. He looked rattled, like a man who had spent days rehearsing something he hated saying. I've been thinking, he began, voice quiet, about what you said at the cafe, about everything. I leaned back against my kitchen counter, waiting. And you were right, he said, the words thick and painful. Not about everything, but about some things. I didn't respond. He took a shaky breath. I do miss you. That part was real. But you were right that I was keeping you on the hook. My brows lifted. He wasn't usually this direct. Not consciously, he rushed on. I didn't wake up thinking, how can I manipulate Elena today? But subconsciously, yeah. I liked knowing you were there. Knowing if things didn't work out with someone else, you'd probably take me back. The truth hit with a cold, sharp clarity. Jason, I said quietly, that's not just unfair, that's cruel. I know, he whispered. I know, and I'm sorry. Not because I want you back, but because you didn't deserve that. You've always been good to me, and I took advantage of that. I swallowed hard. Then why are you here? He dragged a hand through his hair, because I didn't want the last thing between us to be anger, or that brunch photo you probably saw. I blinked. You know I saw it. Yeah, he sighed. I shouldn't have posted that. Not after our conversation. It was stupid. I was trying to, I don't know, prove something. Maybe to myself. I didn't say anything. He continued. Elena, I need to explain something, not to change your mind, but because I owe you the truth. He stepped closer, then seemed to think better of it and took a half step back. I'm scared of commitment, he said finally. I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's the truth. Every time things felt real with us, every time you wanted us to take the next step, I panicked. Not because of you, but because permanence scares the hell out of me. I raised an eyebrow. So you kept breaking up with me? Yes, he whispered. I didn't understand it then, but yeah, I'd feel trapped. Like choosing you meant closing every other door forever. And I wasn't ready for that. I didn't know how to be ready. He looked fragile, not performing, not manipulative, just small and human and painfully honest in a way I hadn't seen before. Then I'd miss you, he continued, voice breaking. Miss the comfort, the affection, the way you loved me. But wanting you back didn't mean I was ready to give you what you needed. It just meant I was lonely, or scared, or tired of being alone. That's not love, I said softly. I know, he whispered. He paused, swallowing hard. And the new girl? She's not you. A hollow, ugly ache spread across my chest. She's fine. She's nice, he said. But she's easy. She doesn't make me confront anything real. She doesn't challenge me. It's uncomplicated. I stared at him. So you're dating someone you don't care about because caring about me was too intense? He winced. I know how it sounds, but yes, kind of. It hurt more than it should have. Jason, I said quietly, you realize you're admitting you broke me over and over because loving me felt too real for you, too serious. So you chose someone you feel less for. He didn't argue. I'm not proud of it, he said, but it's the truth. I exhaled, long and shaky. Thank you for being honest. Really. But this doesn't change anything. I can't be your friend. I can't be your fallback. I can't be the person you come to when your relationship feels too easy and you miss the intensity of ours. I know, he whispered. I'm not asking you to be anything. I just didn't want you to think any of this happened because you weren't enough. You were enough, more than enough. I'm the one who wasn't ready. Silence settled between us. Heavy. Final. He looked around my apartment, at the plants he once watered, the bookshelf he built with me, the tiny kitchen where we cooked cheap pasta at midnight. The memories ghosted around the room. I should go, he said finally. I nodded. Take care of yourself, Jason. He hesitated like he wanted to say something else, then lowered his gaze. You too, he whispered. Then he walked out of my apartment. The door clicked shut behind him. I stood there for a long time, leaning against the counter, my hands trembling. Not from sadness, not from heartbreak. From relief. Pure aching relief. Because for the first time in 18 months, I understood. Some stories don't end with reconciliation, or clarity, or perfect closure. Some stories just end, and that's enough. For the first week after Jason walked out of my apartment, I kept waiting for the crash. You know, the emotional hangover, the regret, the second guessing, the sudden urge to text him something stupid like, hope you're doing okay, or I found your hoodie, do you want it back? But the crash never came. Instead, mornings felt lighter, quiet. I woke up without a knot in my stomach. I brewed coffee without checking my phone every 2 minutes. I went to work without anticipating which version of Jason I might run into online. The nostalgic one, the wounded one, the guilt-tripping one. My phone stayed silent, because it was still blocked. And God, I didn't realize how much peace lived inside that silence. Felix noticed first. You look functional, he said one morning over the office coffee machine. I raised an eyebrow. High praise. I mean it. He studied me like I was a bug he was trying to identify. You're smiling again, and it doesn't look like the "I'm totally fine, please don't ask me about my breakup" smile. That's oddly specific. I've been your coworker for 4 years, he said, handing me my mug. I know your coping smiles. I laughed, and it didn't feel forced. It felt like mine. Cora noticed next. She FaceTimed me from her kitchen one night, wearing fuzzy socks and holding a glass of wine. Okay, who are you, and what have you done with my sister? I blinked. What? You're glowing, she said accusingly. Is this what peace looks like? I forgot. Shut up. No, really, she said, softening. You seem better, like actually better. I nodded. I am. She smiled. I'm proud of you. And for once, I didn't deflect, didn't shrug it off, didn't diminish it. I let myself accept it. In therapy, yes, I finally started therapy. My counselor asked a question that stayed with me for days. What did you learn from this relationship, Elena? It wasn't a question with a neat answer, not a bullet point list I could rattle off. But over time, I pieced it together. I learned that loving someone doesn't automatically make you compatible. I learned that intensity isn't intimacy. I learned that someone missing you isn't the same as someone choosing you. And maybe the biggest one, you cannot love a person into readiness. They either are or they aren't. And you wasting your youth waiting for them to figure it out won't change a damn thing. It was around week 4 of no contact, real no contact, peaceful no contact, that I downloaded a dating app. Not because I wanted a relationship, but because I realized something quietly beautiful. I wanted to feel hopeful again. I swiped casually with zero expectations. Half of the time, I closed the app and watched dog videos instead. But then I matched with someone named Andrew. His profile was simple. No shirtless bathroom selfies, no fishing photos, no rants about good vibes only. He had a photo of him laughing with a dog, and another of him holding a cup of coffee like it was his life's mission. Our chat was easy, light, no pressure. When he asked me out for drinks, I stared at the message for a solid minute before typing. Sure, let's try it. The date was surprisingly wonderful. He picked a small bar with dim lights and quiet music, somewhere we didn't have to shout to hear each other. We talked for nearly 2 hours straight. Work stress, travel stories, the best pizza toppings, our mutual hatred of slow walkers. At one point he asked, "So how long have you been single?" There it was, the dreaded question. I didn't lie. 2 months, I said. The relationship was complicated, on and off. I'm still figuring out how to be single again. I expected him to recoil, to grimace, to judge. Instead, he nodded thoughtfully. That makes sense. I've been through something similar. It takes time. Something unclenched inside my chest. We ended the night with a hug. A simple, sweet hug. No pressure. No spark meant to ignite my entire nervous system like Jason used to do. But maybe that was the point. It felt genuine, human, safe. We set a second date for next week. When I told Felix, he practically did a backflip across our shared cubicle row. "Look at you," he said, "dating like a normal person. I'm so proud I could cry." When I told Cora, she shrieked, "Send me his pictures now." When I told my therapist, she smiled knowingly. "You seem grounded about it. That's important." When I told myself, I didn't feel like I was betraying anything. I didn't feel like I needed to prove anything. I felt ready, not for a new relationship necessarily, but ready to occupy my own life again. Sometimes people ask if I regret the relationship with Jason. And honestly, I don't, because I learned what I don't want. I don't want someone who treats me like an emotional motel. Comfort when convenient. Distance when committed. I don't want to be the backup plan for someone afraid of growing up. I don't want a love built on panic, apologies, and cycles. I don't want to spend my life wondering when the next breakup is coming. More importantly, I learned what I do want. Emotional consistency. Someone who doesn't run at the first sign of discomfort. Someone who chooses me fully, not temporarily. Peace over chaos, always. It's been 6 weeks now. My phone stays blocked. My social media stays blocked. And when mutual friends bring up Jason, I change the subject. Not because it hurts, but because he's simply not my problem anymore. He's a chapter I've closed. A story I survived. A cycle I broke. And maybe the most surprising thing? I'm not waiting for karma to catch up with him. I'm not waiting for him to regret losing me. I'm not waiting for him to see me happy with someone else. Because those things don't matter. What matters is that I finally chose myself. Fully. Wholeheartedly. Without hesitation. Without looking back. And for the first time in a long, long time, that's enough.